Dark Souls is a combat focused game where you beat down bosses for seemingly no reason. There are many ways to take on the obstacles that are set in front of you. You can overwhelm your enemies with a strong offensive, turtle up with a shield and wait for the perfect moment to strike, or dodge through your enemies and defeat them with a well placed counter. But what if we took away one of these three essential pillars of Dark Souls' iconic combat? Can you beat Dark Souls without rolling? So before we start, let's set a few ground rules. Rolling, as the challenge implies, is obviously not allowed, and while backstepping does not actually give you iframes, iframes being the frames of invulnerability that allow you to dodge through weapons, you can however use the backstep to create distance and dodge away from a weapon being swung at you. For this reason they are also not allowed, and that same reason applies to jumping, meaning they are not allowed either. So that's what's not allowed, but what happens if I do accidentally roll? As a seasoned veteran with over 1,000 hours in the game, it's bound to happen at some point purely out of muscle memory. So if I do accidentally roll, I'll have to make my way back to the last bonfire I rested at and reset the area. This video would take far too long if I had to reset the whole playthrough every time I rolled. So with that out of the way, we move on to character creation. I chose Sorcerer because I believe that long distance engagements are probably going to be my best bet. I took the Master Key because Master Key, Master Gift, and after an embarrassingly long time trying to make my character look like Cannonbolt from Ben 10 to no avail, eventually gave up, made my character green, and my journey began in a cell with a man throwing dead bodies at me. The body had a key, which I used to escape my new home. I continued, had a run in with a giant flying pig with a hammer, who I ran away from like a little bitch, gathered my equipment and ran into the lovely man who helped me escape my cell. He gave me all his valuables, to which I thanked him with a well placed dagger to the throat. I defeated the flying pig with my newly acquired equipment, continued forward to enjoy the view, but then a massive crow swooped in from the sky and picked me up. Can't seem to catch a break. Luckily the bird had good intentions and dropped me at Firelink's shrine. I did a quick sweep of my surroundings and gathered up some items. There was a strange man sitting on a log near the bonfire, so I thought I would ask him for some directions. I got cocky and tried to finish him in style, which he responded with a sword directly through my chest. I came back angrier than ever. The thought of revenge spiked my adrenaline. With my judgment clouded, I lost my first battle to the roll. Mission failed! I had to take a couple minutes to calm myself down, but after I did, I came back, killed the strange man, and made my way down to New Londo. I grabbed the weird spiky ball thing and went straight back to Firelink to upgrade my Sunny D. With the basic preparations out of the way, I finally set off. I made my way through a group of enemies to an aqueduct which I travelled through to reach the undead burg. I killed more enemies, found more items, easy enough, continued forward, and there's a fucking dragon. Luckily, the dragon was scared off by my alpha Chad confidence and I was able to reach the next bonfire with relative ease. I bought a key and a spiky baseball bat from a semi-friendly holo. I equipped my bat along with some new drip and continued forward. I crossed a small bridge into a room where two holos were awaiting me. I forgot about the challenge and accidentally rolled. I walked the walk of shame back to the bonfire, reset the area and continued past them. Tried to get the jump on the Black Knight. He did not like that. However, my inner parry god came out and I eventually defeated him. I made my way up to the bridge and ran into a cow with an axe. I stabbed him in the head and tickled his toes until he was no more. After crossing the bridge, I ran into Daddy Solaire, who after some flirting gave me his soapstone so I can call him for a late night booty call. The dragon returned for round 2, so I cut off his tail and, just as a flex, now use it as a weapon. I opened the next gate, killed another Black Knight and tricked a boar into killing itself. I grabbed the key to my mum's basement and continued on to the parish. When I arrived, I killed an even bigger Black Knight and found another Estus upgrade. I head up the stairs and ran into the Pope and his congregation. I slaughtered them, like animals, and continued on to where I met another sexy knight in shining armour. I freed him from his cell because what could possibly go wrong, and continued on with my day. Went up to the roof and was attacked by some gargoyles. It was hard to get in close without rolling as they have a wide, long-range sweeping attack. I was able to stunlock the first and abuse the RNG of the second to beat them with relative ease. I rung the first bell, unlocked the best gesture in the game and made my way to the next bonfire. Since we chose the Master Key, from here we could head straight down to Blighttown via Firelink's shrine. However, I would be severely underleveled for that area, so I decided to continue as intended for now. First however, I took a quick detour into the Darkroot Garden, went straight to the boss. Turns out the boss is both immune to my magic and hard to beat without rolling, as evidenced by me rolling. You know the phrase, anything men can do, women can do better? Well that's true, so I summoned Queen Beatrice to help me with this task. Turns out her magic is better than mine and she defeated the Moonlight Moth with ease. I returned to the parish and made my way to the lower burg. When I reached the lower burg, I saved a master of sorcery from the unsolvable puzzle of a locked door. The neighbourhood watch didn't like me snooping around and tried to kill me. I killed them swiftly and reached the boss. So far, most of the bosses have been easy during this challenge, but this one actually gave me a little bit of trouble. The goatman has an attack I can't block, so I had to be careful. First attempt, I got stuck in a corner and stun locked to death. Second attempt, I cleared the dogs and thought things were going well. I rolled. Third attempt, I narrowly escaped death. I then traded a few blows with the goat and came out on top. I obtained the key to the depths, my next location. Before entering the depths, I made a quick trip back to Firelink and learned some more powerful spells. Upon entering the depths, I saved a man who can literally summon fire from a wooden barrel. I butchered a couple of butchers and stole their large ember, gunned down a giant rat and slid down the dirtiest slip and slide I've ever seen. The Pope from earlier must have won his gulag fight because he'd redeployed here. I sent him back to the lobby and made my way to what I would consider one of the easiest bosses in the game. Oh fuck. Holy shit. I just died to gaping fucking agony. During the walk of shame back to the boss, I got wombo comboed by a torch hollow. It really can't get any worse than this. After a quick browse of iFunny to calm my nerves, I beat the Minge monster, and rather than going through Blighttown the hard way, I made my way back to Valley of the Drakes to head in that way. As I made my descent into Blighttown Swamp, I was killed by a blow dart and a couple of mosquitoes. I came back, massacred them all, and got my Estus upgrade. I got some new drip and took the elevator down to the bonfire, where a naked woman approached me. I penetrated her, to death, and after farming for some large titanite shards, I went to the boss. I called in the naked woman and entered what I thought would be my first threesome. I was very wrong. I killed my new big titty goth half spider GF and rung the second bell of awakening, opening the gates to Sen's Fortress. But before heading there, I told some egg dude I was how to basic. He believed me and I spoke to his queen. She didn't say much, but I got her number and went on with my day. I threw my new ghost spider GF's big brother off a cliff and headed back to the parish. I entered the now open Sen's Fortress and was greeted by some snake people. I made one break through a wall and found a man with a very big hat. He didn't really say much, but I freed him anyway. I continued on avoiding traps and swinging axes until I didn't avoid the swinging axe. I attempted to save it with a save quit, but that didn't really work, so I ran my macaroni cheese looking ass back to where I died. Not dying this time, I made it to Upper Sen's Fortress. Not much happened here, I just ran to the boss. Before facing the golem, however, I summoned Black Iron Tarkus. Tarkus is like the Dark Souls of NPCs, because he's hard as fuck. He helped me defeat the giant throwing bombs and the golem, and by helped, I mean he did everything. I touched the shiny ring like a 12-year-old with ADHD and was kidnapped by some flying bald men. They realised I wasn't actually 12 and dropped me off at Anor Londo. I went down the elevator and was met by an angry gargoyle. He told me that I'd killed his brothers and that he was here for revenge. I reunited him with his brothers and that was that. I tiptoed my way across some rafters and engaged in what I thought would be a big game of Beyblade. I was wrong again. I was attacked by another gargoyle and long story short, they all died happily ever after. Turns out the dudes who kidnapped me have friends here. I killed them and head towards the iconic Anor Londo archers. After a quick chat, the knight agreed to let me pass and I head to the next bonfire. After some exploring, I found Dwayne The Rock Johnson's alternate WWE skin. Usually I would just skip this area with a jump, but I'm not allowed to jump, so I had to go around the long way.
So uncivilized.
On the way to the boss I got invaded. Luckily, I made it to the boss just in time. I walked through the fog and ran into Pikachu and Snorlax. Like everything in this game, they weren't friendly. I killed the Pikachu and Snorlax evolved into Raichu. I thought the fight was in the bag until I rolled trying to sprint backwards. No worries, I'm not mad. Oh fuck you. Come on, I fucking sprinted. Upon the second attempt, I cashed in my free booty call from Solaire and together we sent the two back to their own game. Then I think I spoke to a lady and I think she gave me something, but I wasn't really paying attention. The golden guy I freed earlier killed my Estus upgrade woman, so I tracked him down and slaughtered him. I used her soul to bring her back to life because that's how Dark Souls works, and rested my tired ass at the Firelink bonfire. After my rest I bought some new spells from Big Hat Man and spoke to a long neck boy. I wasn't really listening, all I know is that I got the best suck of my life. Turns out he's not a swallower and spit me out at the Firelink altar. I placed down the giant ball and a beam shot into the sky. I don't really know what it did, all I know is that there is now 4 ways I can go from here. I'm going this way. I made my way into the Darkroot Garden, however I decided to take a quick detour and ran into Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Turns out he couldn't see me and my time was now. I killed him and took the championship ring. I killed a Hydra and then a gold golem, got another girl's number, and stole her clothes. Forgot to buy the key from Andre, so went back to get it. I tried to join the Cheshire Cat's Covenant, but I couldn't because I got invaded. I beat the invader and joined the Covenant. I ran through the field to the boss. I went to touch the sword and was ambushed by a good boil. Sadly, he was in the way, so I gunned him down, and like the Doge meme, he died. With the art of abyss walking acquired, I head down to New Londo. I was running through the area until I got bullied by some ghosts. I made my way back and spoke to Pyramid Head. He gave me a key which I used to unflood the city. I then hopped into the dark abyss and killed the 4 kings. One down, 3 to go. Next up is the catacombs. I killed a guy, opened a gate, jumped down again and ran to the fog. The game glitched and this basic enemy had a cutscene and a boss health bar. Weird. I killed him and continued into the dark. After some traipsing around, I found the bonfire where I equipped the cast light spell. It's pretty much a straight run to the boss from here. This section is really quick if you know the way. I used the same strategy I used on the 4 kings. I bulked up in my heaviest armour and tanked the hits. If I can't roll through it, I can at least make it do no damage. Giant Skelly Boy went down with ease. That's 2 out of 4. Next up, we're heading to the Demon Ruins. I ran straight to the bonfire, killed a giant centipede thing, and ran into another flying pig. This time it was on fire. He killed me. I ran back furiously and took my revenge. I continued down the tree branch straight into the centipede. After a little struggle, the centipede was no more. With the ability of lava walking now acquired, I can move on to Lost Izalith. Literally nothing happened here and I just ran straight to the boss. Ran to the left, popped the left testicle, my game glitched and I ended up back at the fog wall. Slid back down, went to the right, I slipped. I came back and popped the right testy. That very strange glitch happened again. Slid back down, ran straight forward to the finish line. I had the luckiest moment ever, then I didn't. I died again and then eventually I made my way to the core and squished the little bug and obtained the 3rd Great Soul. And last but not least, I made my way to the Grand Archives. My mission is so close to completion. I ran straight to Seath and stomped all over his front yard. He did not like that and called the cops. I got arrested. Luckily my years of playing Skyrim has made me a master at lockpicking. I escaped the cell, heard music so bad I can only describe it as a Takeshi 69 concert. Stupid! Looks like he never got out after all. I continued forward and found a key. Took the key all the way back to save the big hat man from having to hear that music ever again. He rewarded me with some new spells. I made my way through the crystal caves to Seath. You know what they say, snitches get put in a body bag or something like that. With the 4th Great Soul in my possession, all that stood between me and completing this challenge was the Lord of Cinder himself, Gwyn. After some final preparation, it was time. Time for all my hard work to pay off. Time to complete the very thing we thought not possible. I opened the gate to the kiln and head for Gwyn. And with that final parry, it was over. I beat Dark Souls without rolling.